This fall, we've been taking part in a community practice as a church, reading the same book and processing what we're learning together. We asked Jen Kahn to share some of her experience so far, as well as her reflections on the first two chapters.
So our small group of 5 women has chosen to take on Liturgy of the Ordinary as our study for this fall and winter. So we've been working through one chapter at home on our own a week, and then meeting together on Tuesday nights to talk through what stood out to us and work through the discussion questions together. And it's been a great way to keep us accountable to working our way through the book, but also to hear from each other's perspectives of what stood out to us, and to challenge each other as we talk through the questions. We've also been able to use the different denominations in which we were raised and the liturgies that may have or may not have been involved in that to inform some of our discussion and to talk about how those affect how we enter into our days now and how we live that out in our own faith lives. So I think that there's definite times where I've been challenged where what one person has said that they noticed during the course of their day isn't something that I've necessarily been noticing. And so that's been a great opportunity to look at things from a different perspective, and those things that are repeated through our days and through different cycles of our lives, to look at that from a different perspective. So I don't actually struggle with the concept that I'm a beloved child of God. I've seen God show up in really particular ways at certain times of my life, in circumstances, and especially through other people, and in things that I've read where He's spoken to me, and I don't actually doubt that. But I've got to admit that it's not the first thing that pops into my mind as I wake up each morning. And sitting and dwelling in that isn't something that comes easily to me. My mind really quickly jumps to things that lay ahead for the day and the things that are associated with the different roles that I play as a mom, as an employee, as somebody in ministry, as a family member and friend, and somebody running a household. Those things really quickly fill my mind in the morning. And I'm much more comfortable in getting up pretty quickly and heading into my day. So sitting in the stillness and dwelling on just God's love for me and just sitting and feeling that is something that's going to take a lot more practice for me. The book reminds us that there's many years of Jesus's life that were not recorded in Scripture, that are not talked about. So we meet him as he's born, and in his first couple years, we see glimpses of him, but then we really don't hear a lot more about him until just before his public ministry starts. And of course, all these years of Jesus's life still matter, those more ordinary years. And in the same way, God can use these repeated days, the things that feel like ordinary days to us, with the same things happening a lot of the time over and over each day or each week, to grow us in the same way that He was using them to prepare Jesus for the ministry that He was called to on earth. God can use these moments, if we allow Him, to form us and to grow us into the people that He wants us to be, and prepare us for the ministry He has for us each in our everyday lives now and in the future. So I've loved the reminder that the details of our lives matter to God, that each of these small moments is an important opportunity to connect with Him, and that God even designed this world to operate on a cycle of repetition through the different seasons, through our weeks and through our days, that He's built in these repeated opportunities to connect with Him. And so how I go through those moments, the mindset that I have as I go through my day, that matters. And I'm so thankful that God allows all these multiple opportunities to connect with Him, and that each new day offers us a new opportunity to do that in a better way. So I've mentioned that it's hard for me to just sit alone in stillness with God. But one thing that I have managed to build into my routine, and which has become, I guess, what I would now see as a part of my daily liturgy, is talking to God while I'm driving in my car. So maybe it's the movement, the background noise, or having other things to see along the way. But I find this a much easier time for me to connect with God. And so there's lots of times when I'm driving alone, especially on my way to or from work, where I'm talking often out loud in my car to God, pouring out my thoughts, my feelings, my frustrations, sometimes my anger, wrestling through the things that He has allowed in my life or continues to allow that are hard. And just trying to connect with Him. And I also sometimes am doing that out loud and speaking some of what I might imagine that He might say to me if He was sitting actually right beside me in the passenger seat, and declaring some of those truths out loud and trying to reset my mind to a better spot on hard days. So yeah, that's often how I connect with God and find that a little bit easier to do. So if you happen to pass me while I'm driving in my car and wonder what's happening, you'll now know. Both at church and at work and in my personal life, my sweet spot is being in a supportive role and being just behind those that are out in front, doing things that help them out and support them. Sometimes other people look at some of the tasks that I do, especially at work, and they think that that may not be exciting work to do, or it's something that they may not enjoy or find a little bit monotonous at times. But those are things that I love, and I think it points to how God created each one of us really differently and made somebody that just wants to do each type of thing that needs to be done. And so they give me an opportunity to keep practicing these things over and over. I work in vocational ministry, and so through the different programs that we provide for youth, and through our model of just long-term relationship and connection, it has really shown me that God uses repeated connections with each other and repeated connections between Him and us to bring about transformation in our lives. And that's been a huge thing for me to learn, and something that I've been able to take from what I do at work and put that into my everyday life, to see these repeated patterns, repeated connections, repeated times to connect with others that share our faith, with our family and our friends, with our community, with people here at church. They're just times where God can use these, if we allow them to form us. So I can't say that I'm often bored, but I 100% absolutely resist stillness. It's something I often actively try to avoid, actually. It can be a really uncomfortable feeling. So this book is a huge challenge to me of slowing things down. And as the book says, to cultivate a life with space for silence. In doing that, that's not something that comes naturally, and it's something that God is definitely inviting me to, and so this is going to take some time for me. It's going to take repeated practice, and I'm just so thankful for a God who is patient, who offers so much grace, and who gives us a new chance to do this each day.